Hello, I'm Neil Cole, and this is the second part of a two-part series on why I've chosen to no longer be a Christian. I've left it behind. I want to see us simplify everything to be nothing more than Jesus and nothing less than Jesus. His word, His spirit, His presence, that needs to be the most noticeable thing about all that we do. Our faith must be in Jesus, not in our works and not in our organizations and brands and institutions, but it has been the other way for far too long. For many, many years now, I have said we need to lower the bar of how we do church and raise the bar of what it means to be a disciple. And I still believe that, and I've given my life to making this happen. So, in this video, I want to look at 6 priorities that need to shift. We need our emphasis to shift in these 6 ways. We're not shifting from the bad to the good. We're shifting from the good to the better, all right? So the things that we're shifting from are not necessarily bad or evil. They have a place, but they need to stop being the center of things, all right? So follow with me. Here's the first one. His kingdom more than our church. It needs to be about our King and His kingdom more than it is about our own church. His name is more important than our name. You see, you could have a Baptist church on one side of the street and a Brethren across the street, and they are never together. They compete with each other. And that is not the way the bride of Christ was ever meant to be. It's not against a Pentecostal against a Presbyterian. That's craziness. In Jesus' kingdom, we are all followers of the King, not of our own church name. In fact, do you know what the word denomination means? It's a Latin word that means to name. We have put our name, our brand, our label, our logo on everything. And we've done so at the expense of His name. So I think in the future, we will see His kingdom more than our church. Secondly, following more than believing. We've made it all about becoming a believer. And even the demons believe and shudder. Belief is not enough. It's the beginning, but it's not where we end. See, we're not to go into the world and make more believers. We are to go into the world and make more followers, more disciples, people who listen to Jesus and do what He says. Knowing a creed and agreeing, signing off on a statement of faith is not enough. We have to have practice. We have to live like Jesus in this world, not just know what it is we believe. We've made a religion out of believing the right things at the expense of living the right way. And I think that needs to change. So the first one is His kingdom over our church. The second one is following more than believing. The third is learning more than teaching. See, we have emphasized teaching to such an extent that teachers are elevated and all of us are just an audience that listen to teachers. We've made so much of teaching that churches are identified by who the teacher is. And the teacher, by the way, isn't Jesus, it's some other guy. I've made the shift a few years ago, and it's made all the difference. I don't talk so much about teaching. I want to talk about learning. See, you know what? That's what a disciple is. The word mathetes, translated disciple, literally means a learner, a pupil, a student, someone who learns. I think we need to realize that learning is what's important, not teaching. Make that shift. It will change all of our priorities. We need to emphasize loving more than being right. It's not enough to just be right. We need to look at people through the lenses of love rather than the lenses of who's in and who's out, who's right, who's wrong, who's red, who's blue, who's gay, who's straight. That's craziness. We should love on everybody, whether they're in or out, right or wrong. And that love should be the love of Christ. We need to emphasize giving more than what you get. It's not about being wealthy or being blessed. We are already blessed. We are already wealthy. Jesus has given us every spiritual blessing in the heavenly places. It's already been given to you. There's nothing more to add. There's nothing more that you can get. We need to live out of that wealth instead of trying to acquire wealth here on earth. So let's make our faith about what we give out of our abundance rather than what we try to get from the world and from one another. And finally, we need to emphasize Renaissance over Reformation. It's not enough to fix what we have that's broken. We need to rebirth. That's what Renaissance means, to rebirth. Something new, something fresh, something real. And I think we're long overdue for a Renaissance, not just in our belief system, but in the way we practice, in the way we live, in business and in culture and arts, and the way we function in leadership and the way we live life. We need a rebirth, a Renaissance, rather than a Reformation. In my next video, I'm going to look at what that Renaissance will look like.